I want to welcome you to this episode, Lone Gopher. Thank you
Thank you
for
for
joining
having me.
me. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on by. Uh, and you told me that you've even been able to watch the previous episodes, so none of this should
Yes.
be a
No,
surprise.
I'm good to go. I've been watching the last of this whole week basically, and
Really?
yeah, I've been catching it. I tend to watch all my stuff in 1.25, so it's a little faster, and then like I'll watch it again slowly.
Yeah.
like it's just like a weird thing for me. I tend to watch things a little bit faster than typical.
How do I sound in 1.25 speed?
It's not bad. It starts getting weird when you go any further than 1.25, and that's why I
Yeah.
always try to keep it down at that level. Yeah.
Well, it's good to talk to you, Lone. For those of you that, or rather, for those who are listening that haven't yet gotten to know who Lone Gopher is, how would you describe your channel in your community?
That's pretty easy. I am a primary Lego streamer these days. I used to do other streaming, but 100% Lego nowadays. And what you can find on my stream is a chill atmosphere on a Sunday. Tons of people have long weeks. Either it starts or end of the week, start of the week for some people. Because my stream is in Hawaii time, so a lot of times you catch the Australia, UK, EU people who are further ahead, and then also the people who are ending their week on their Sundays in the United States. So I usually kind of get like a mix of people who are starting their week and ending their week. And my goal is to either let them have somewhere to chill to get their week started well, or, to let get their week finish off well at the end of the week. It's just, we build some Lego, we chat about nerdy stuff. I've been fortunate enough in my life to have a lot of fun experiences and different things. And so I try to connect with people based on those experiences and our shared love of stuff of like Lego in this case, but also, nerdy stuff. Most recently for me, like I'm deep diving into Star Wars fandom and just anything that's like nerdy, geeky, video gamey in the Twitchiverse, Twitch world. And just let people come in, chill, and sometimes catch me do some ridiculous things like sing Disney songs and uh, and just like null up the place and chaos all my builds and stuff, and then just kind of come hang out. That's my vibe. I
That's
try
your
to give
vibe.
off. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Briefly, tell me about the. I mean, I am familiar with it, but for those that aren't, tell me about the Disney portion of this.
So I one day, just like this is how it happens every time. Is like you put up a redeem on your stream, and you don't necessarily think it's going to either be A, successful, or B, anyone's ever going to redeem, or C, it'll be like some number that no way, nobody has that many channel points, right? Like that's not a thing. Okay.
Right.
Uh, so I think maybe it was like a couple hours before stream. I was like, like I think there was like a sing talk kind of redeem on my stream where it was like I would speak but just sing the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
way, like anything. And I found I was like having a little bit of trouble like catching on to something, and I realized, okay, what the heck? Let's just put 90s Disney music on there, because I don't know about you guys, but I grew up. I'm born in the 80s, but I grew up with that kind of like 90s hand drawn animated Disney
Yeah.
musical everything, like Aladdin, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Tarzan, Hercules, whatever, going down the line.
Right.
And I don't know, I just put something on there which I thought was like a lot of channel points. I put it was like 5,000 or 6,000 channel points. And I was like, I'll serenade you like a 90s Disney princess. And like in like 3 streams, it was just like to the moon, because everyone was just redeeming it every second. Because like turns out there's a lot of AFOLs who are in the same kind of age bracket as well.
Right.
Grew up with those same movies. And then I just became singing Disney princess. I don't ever purport to sing well. I just will sing it because I remember those songs from when I was like a kid, and generally like kind of get into it, sort of thing. Should have been 100K. I know.
That's great. When you how many times have you done that then, roughly?
way too many times.
Right. So is it still
Way too many times.
5,000 points? Have you
I
changed it?
upped it. Okay, it went up once, and I think it went up to like maybe 7,500. I think I maybe brought it down to 6,000 at one point.
Right.
It still gets redeemed way too many times. But I feel like a lot of people will redeem it. Yeah. It
Yeah.
just happens.
Have you gone as far as to like put up a song list of songs for people to pick from specifically?
I haven't. We could do that. So far we've basically, I've tried to keep it to that kind of 90s band, because like that's what I
Right.
know in my brain from when I was a kid.
Right.
But there have been like what I will do, and I've told this to people, is if they have a song that they want and I don't know it at that time, give me a week and I will try and like learn it that week, and then I'll redeem it the next stream next Sunday. And I've done that a couple times for, I think there's a streamer named That Square Guy, but he's on Twitch, and he like requested a Hercules song.
Yeah.
So I learned that one, and I learned a Robin Hood song. I can't remember who requested that one, but a few different ones, and it was just like, I'll do it the next week kind of thing. So
Right.
there are options, and I'm pretty flexible sort of thing. So if there's something you want, I'll do it.
Yeah, I remember you singing an Encanto song, and
yeah, I didn't know that. I
didn't know
I think Encanto just came out too, right? Like it had
Yeah.
just come out, and someone like requested. I'm pretty sure we don't talk about Bruno, but like in my head, I was like, that song came out like yesterday. I barely watched the movie yet, and I love that movie. And I'm like, I'll learn it. It's fine. We'll figure it out. There's like 10 parts. Who cares?
That was yeah. Actually, I think that was one of the first ones that I had personally like heard.
Popped into. Well, I apologize. It was so bad.
No,
I didn't know any of it. I was like, I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Everyone in chat has said that your voice is great, so I don't think. And I mean, I agree.
I
don't. You know, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, true. That's true. You know,
definitely.
At least I don't scare people off. People just maybe mute me. That's cool.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you stream Lego primarily.
I stream Lego once a week, usually on Sundays, and then anytime I can fit it in during the week.
Right. Were you tell me about how you got to streaming Lego specifically?
Okay, well, much like I think Zach was talking about, I'm pretty much a pandemic Lego guy.
Same.
I'm like a new AFOL. I mean, you guys, I don't know if you can see some of it, but there's a good amount of Lego behind me right now.
Yeah.
Before September of 2020, literally only one set existed of any of this. I only had one set. And the only set I had was, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a Millennium Falcon. It's a Kessel Run Millennium Falcon. It's about like the play size one. I want to say it's about 1,500 pieces, give or take.
Right.
And it's just like that one. I got it like on a Black Friday a while ago, and during the pandemic, I was depressed like everybody else. Maybe not everybody else. I was depressed, being stuck at home all the time, and I primarily am a very social person to begin with, so it was a hard adjustment for me. So there's just a lot of stuff going on. The world was burning. This is fine, kind of thing. And I was like, I need to do something to get out of my head. And much like everybody, I'm pretty sure in our Lego community at some point, like I found that Lego helped me like organize my brain a little bit and like feel a little calmer. I didn't know what knolling was, but I was knolling before like somebody told me what that was, because like that was part of my process at the time, because everything around the world for me was like falling down, but this I could easily control, if that makes sense. Or like it just was like within my thought. So that's how I got back into Lego. And then because we were in this pandemic isolation kind of thing, all my friends were online at this point. I hadn't seen them in real life in a good 6 months maybe. And the way that we were talking about things and chat things like Discord and keeping connected, I was like saying like, hey, I built this Lego set the other day. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I loved it. Like I'm like an older, you know what I mean? Like I felt weird talking about it at first. I was like, I'm in my mid late 30s. Like for some reason, that made me feel really good when everything else was not making me feel pretty good. Okay.
Right.
So then I was like, okay, you guys want to like see this? You know what I mean? Like, you guys want to see this? And I was like, how do I show you what I was doing? And this is like beginning of pandemic, so all the video stuff wasn't like hitting just yet. It was coming like 2 months in, but like right at the beginning, I didn't know what to do. And I
Mm.
was like, wait a minute, I used to stream on Twitch. That's what I used to do.
Yeah.
Like, just not necessarily like professionally, but I had all the stuff to do it. Like, I had a
Right.
camera, I have a mic. I still had the knowledge to be like, I can do this. I know how OBS Studio works, like, just without even thinking about it, because I've done it
Right.
before. So
Yeah.
okay, you other 4 people, my other 4 friends, I'm going to go on Twitch and build this Lego set that this Saturn V I bought
Nice.
from Lego. I was like, I bought it for Black Friday. I was like, I'm going to build it on stream. Then you guys can like hang out there instead of just in my Discord and whatever. And other people we haven't seen in forever, I can be like, hey, my other friends who are like I haven't seen like literally from all other places, I'm doing this thing on Twitch. You guys want to come down and say hi? So that's how it started. And this was like November of last year. And every Sunday after that, it was building Lego, because I think maybe the third or fourth one after I started again, I got a couple of raids from wonderful people in our Lego community, and I got
Mm-hmm.
invited to do a Lego Sunday raid train. And after that, I just did it every Sunday and just enjoyed it with the people that showed up. That's been my resurgence back into Lego Twitch.
That's great. And for those who aren't actually looking at the video, there is, how many sets would you say that you have behind you, or just in general?
Total. The last I check, I think roughly I have about in the year and a half since September of 2020, I have accumulated about 165 Lego sets.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah. There is a little caveat in that some people do know me in the Lego community as someone who looks for Lego deals, kind of like hunts for Lego deals and stuff.
Right.
And after I started streaming Lego and liking Lego and realizing Lego was incredibly expensive,
Mm-hmm.
sometime in January, I think it was like started streaming in November, and then in January I was like, I wonder if people like sell Lego on Craigslist.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to go look it up, and then I realized Craigslist was not as popular as Facebook Marketplace and other things that existed now, like
Right.
OfferUp and other things. I was like, okay, I have nothing to do. I'm stuck at home. I'm just going to go look,
Uh-huh.
see what's out there, right?
Uh-huh.
And I ran into like a couple of deals in January where it was a couple of people who were like, we're leaving, we're moving off of the island. I have, at this point, it wasn't like nice sets. It was like, you ever see those giant tubs of Lego, just
Yeah.
massive tubs of Lego? They're
Yeah.
like, if you want it, it's like $150, but I know that I put all these sets in there. Like, I knew this. That's what they said. And I was
Right.
like, okay. I was like, I don't have anything to do. Let's try it. So paid $150, washed all the bricks, and then I know Scott Builds is in the chat here. He knows because he helped me like identify sets in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Because early on, he was a great help from Supercomputer Stream to like help me identify Lego stuff. And that's
Right.
how I learned was doing that with Scott Builds. And within like the first month, because we had nowhere to go, I destroyed my living room and just sorted out like 15 Lego sets, which it turned out to be like an awesome deal. I was told later, and it turned out it was like I got like a haunted house, I got like the Tower Bridge, I
Wow.
got like a soap with camel, I got a modular pet shop, I got like 3 architecture sets. So it was like all this stuff for $150, and I was like hooked. And so for like the next 6 months, I just was like, I set up all my alerts and all this kind of stuff. And like every day, every morning, it'll just show me like what's out there. And because we live in Hawaii, it's a very unique situation where we
Mm-hmm.
have a large migrating population every year. We have a large military presence on the island. It's like the largest naval base in the
Right.
Pacific. So what happens is every year or 2 years usually, families a lot, and this represents like a quarter, you know, or like not maybe not a quarter, but like a eighth of the population will be like rotating.
Right.
So they will oftentimes buy collectibles like Lego, Warhammer, Magic, all these things while they're on the island because they have a lot of disposable income, whatever it may be, if they're living on barracks. And then when they move to their next location, what's called a permanent change of station, they never want to take the inefficient stuff to take with them. And
Mm-hmm.
what I found is all these people just sell their Lego really cheap here.
That's amazing.
And so that's what I try to do, is pick them up cheap. And so like of all these sets, I've never paid above retail for one, and often will pay like much less than retail for any of them. So that's how I've done it. But now I've just run out of space, like every Lego
Yeah.
consumer.
That's impressive. I was going to say it doesn't look like you have any space. So
No, none. It's gone.
It's gone. Yeah. No, I feel you on that one completely. With all the Lego that you've acquired in such a short time, are there any sets or collectibles that you really still want, or that you're like kind of hoping to get at a good price
I still
someday?
have a white whale for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your white whale? Yeah.
I mean, I could give you the top three off the top of my head. Like, I know I want that I'm never going to get unless I find it at that weird garage sale or someone, kind of thing. The number one is the UCS Imperial shuttle. It's like the shuttle Tyridium, that white one.
Mm-hmm.
That set it's going for probably about $1,000 these days in a box. And it's I don't want a ton of the UCS ships. I have a good amount, but that's one I would really like to have.
Yeah.
Another one is the Town Hall from the modular collection.
Mm-hmm.
That one also is probably nearing about $1,000 new, $700 or so used, and it would be a nice crowning collection. I'm incredibly fortunate because I never thought I would get a few of these on top, but like recently I found a really insane deal for those three. So maybe it'll happen. That'll be the dream. And the last one is the original Ninjago City, which is like it fits with the Ninjago City Gardens, but it kind of reminds me of a place I'm very familiar with, which is Hong Kong, where I used to spend a good portion of my time. It's like kind of like an old, kind of like cyberpunky looking thing. Kind of reminds me a little of the Kowloon Walled City from the past and stuff. And so I'm like, I would want those three. Those are like my three.
So if you came across it would just be an instant buy of any of those three.
I don't think I couldn't do it. It's just too much. It's too much in price. So unless I find like all these things are all deals. Like I can't. I with everybody, Lego is really an expensive hobby. So anything you can do to kind of like reduce your overall cost to it, I'm with you.
Yeah,
because I want people to be building Lego all the time, right? So like if cost becomes the barrier, that's always sad, right? Like that's not what you want.
I have a question. Yes. Actually, that would be really relevant here for those that are trying to find Lego. In
I can help with that.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if you had a tip for anyone who wanted to get into acquiring Lego at a good, like, under retail price consistently, what would be your tips for someone who's getting into that kind of fashion of like way of getting Lego?
No problem. So here's the real honest truth about it. The reason why I find a lot of deals, I think, where others may not, is I'm actually willing to wade through the awfulness that is the marketplace of stuff like Facebook Marketplace is really poorly designed right now. It's like it's a very large hodgepodge of stuff. But if you can slowly make it so that algorithm starts showing you the right things,
right?
It's okay. And what you want to do is look for of course, like, if you can get a deal on a new set, that's one thing, but you have to start figuring out what you might find in a bulk deal, right? Like that's really where all the value you're going to ever find is finding a used large grouping of Lego, usually. And I hate to say this, but it's almost always like some mom or dad throwing out their kids' Lego,
right?
From when they went to college or wherever, and like different I've actually found different neighborhoods to be really good for garage sales and stuff, where a lot of times it's like if you could figure out like when is a consistent time where kids go to college or kids go to school, you're going to find that like that month you're going to have a lot more hits of like sets and stuff coming through, because people are doing spring cleaning oftentimes right after Christmas is a big one, like January through February. You can often also find good new sealed deals, because the return period from Christmas ends like the end of January. So like at the end of January, February, a lot of people will be selling like sets they got for Christmas that they maybe won't build, they won't want, that sort of thing.
Right.
The things that I really want to stress though is like, don't I would recommend anyway, don't buy stuff online as far as like sending money through digital means. Try to always make it a face-to-face cash transaction so you can check out the product, that sort of thing,
Right.
and you're not getting scammed, that sort of thing. That's the big
Right.
thing. Or if you're using a digital payment service to be protected somehow, right?
Yeah.
But generally I try to do everything local and that sort of thing.
Right. Which would work, I think, for a lot of people who are not in Hawaii, because I think that's been the running joke in chat is
or be in Hawaii.
Yeah, or be in Hawaii. But I mean, I agree with your tip there, where stay local. Is there any particular like websites that you use when monitoring local sales?
So Facebook Marketplace is really notoriously bad at showing you stuff, but if you really dig down to it, you can filter it down to your just local stuff for like a Lego search.
Right.
OfferUp has, when you do a search, will have 2 tabs, one for shipping and one for local. I don't even look at the shipping one because I live in Hawaii, so it'll only give me local results.
Yeah.
The same goes for Mercari, but I don't use that as much because they don't ship to Hawaii. Craigslist is the classic.
Yeah.
What you'll find actually is people who are more tech savvy will be on the mobile apps and stuff. But a lot of times, this is going to sound weird, but a lot of the lots you want to find are people who are less tech savvy sometimes, because they're just like, I want it out. This is the equivalent of finding a newspaper for me. I just want to get rid of this, right?
Right.
Like they're not trying to find the most optimal way to dispose of this product. They're just trying to get it out of their closet.
Right.
So they'll put it on Facebook, and oftentimes the deals are better there. Like, and the last thing is be quick, because I've had it many, many times where I've agreed on a deal with somebody and somebody else has been there to pick it up or paid them more or something, like on the spot.
So there's a lot of competition sometimes, depending.
Speed matters. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I've lost a lot of deals out to a few people here on the island for sure.
That's actually really good to know. I mean, it's always interesting to hear, methods that people have in acquiring it, and the fact that I'm just looking at your collection, and it's astounding the sheer amount of Lego that you have behind you, and that it seems like I also think the unsaid tip here is just to be diligent, because it seems like you've been really consistent with.
I will say, as much as like I joke with Scotty Rotten about like Lego falling from the sky, I mean Scotty likes because one day I ordered something from eBay, and this yellow whatever Y-wing up here that just showed up on my door from nowhere, like from the same seller. They just sent another Lego set.
Really?
Yeah. And I asked them about it. They're like, this is the last of our Legos, so we sent both. I was like, okay.
It is what you were just joking about, though. Lego just literally falling
from the sky.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I was like, oh, okay. And but like barring all that, like Lego falling from the sky is a thing. I do put up like a lot of notification work and like set up all those filters and things, like so that every morning, like it does take me like 10 seconds to check, but I will check in the morning, see what's up, see what's new.
So you've automated a lot of the process.
I've automated a lot of yeah. Like basically I just have to check 1 or 2 apps or something, and at most I'll have a list of everything that's like been posted in the last 48 hours kind of thing. So it's like, and since I'm usually on the market, like I know what's out there. So if there's anything new, it's I just see it as new.
Yeah.
sort of thing. Yeah. And be careful out there, because I've been to shady deals that were not shady, and then things that weren't shady that I didn't think was going to be shady that turned out to be super shady.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
What was
yeah.
the shade? Okay, well, what was
Oh, yeah.
now I
Oh,
want to know what the shadiest thing that
oh,
you walked
definitely.
into
Oh,
was.
well, the one okay, let me give you the one that didn't turn out to be shady, but I
Yeah.
thought I was going to get like murdered or something. Okay, is that somebody was telling me they had. I found this picture. Oh, okay. This is another good tip: is be willing to look at old things and just ask. The worst you could do is ask. No, the person will say, "I don't have it anymore."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If they have it, then it's been out there for 6 months. You can talk. Someone had a picture out there on Facebook Marketplace of like a base. It looked like a basement with like all the rare Lego sets that you could ever find. It was just
Oh,
old
yeah.
modulars. It was like the shuttle. They had like 4 Parisian restaurants. It was just like a weird basement of all this
That
stuff.
sounds too good to be true.
Right. So
Yeah.
and it'd been up there for like 6 to 8 months and being like, I'm liquidating this stuff soon. Let me know. And I just messaged the guy out of the blue, and he was like, oh, yeah, that was like a really long time ago. I have like some of that stuff. Can you meet me at my storage unit? I was like, yeah, okay, I guess.
Come alone.
I guess. No. And he's like, can you pay cash, right? And I was like,
Whoa.
yeah. I was like, okay. And he's like, okay, so my storage unit is, do you know this corner of Chinatown
Yeah.
in Hawaii? I was like, I do know this corner of Chinatown. He's like,
Oh my god.
meet me at this corner. There's like a parking lot there. And I was like, already I was a little sketched out. So I called a couple of my friends. I was like, look, this is what's happening. If
I don't come back.
yeah. Like I gave him I gave him the address and everything. It was hilarious.
Wow. Yeah, that's
And
good.
yeah, so he took me, and at this point, Hawaii is locked down. We had like the most restrictions in the country for the most part.
Yeah.
So most of our restaurants were shut down for a variety of reasons. And so he was like, meet me across the street at this restaurant, which was shut down.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that's super sketchy.
Right. So I get there. It's in the middle of the day, like at noon. So I get there. I like knock on the door of the restaurant, and someone comes out of the restaurant. And is like, "Oh, you're the Lego guy." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Wait here," and he goes and gets another guy, and comes over. He's like, "This is Tiger. Tiger's gonna take you to the storage unit. I'll be right there."
Holy crap. Okay.
And at this point, I'm like, okay. He's like, the storage unit is right there by your car. I'm like, what? There's like a storefront. I walk around the corner. It's just another, like, it's like a vacant unit that they rented but never used. And it's just storage everywhere in there. And he's like, here's all this Lego. And there really was all this kind of cool Lego and bins and stuff all over the place. And he's like, but I'm gonna lock the door just in case out here. So he went outside, locked me in there. He's like, I'll be right back. And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die in here. He came back in. There's nothing. He was like, yeah, this is I own the restaurant across the way. I live above this building thing. This is our storage unit. And I was just like,
that's amazing.
I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah.
I bought 2 things from him. I bought 2 modulars. I bought a Palace Cinema and a pet shop at retail, or a little less than retail, but they were sealed because like the boxes were all beat up. They were just like, the seals were like falling off, but everything inside sealed and everything. And I bought it at retail. So I was like, that was a good deal. Yeah. And as I was walking out, I was like, do you have any other kind of stuff? Because this is lots of cool things. And I also don't want to come back to the death basement. And so he was like, oh yeah, I have like a Star Wars Ewok Village set, which I knew a lot of people wanted.
Yeah.
And he's like, but I hate it. And I was like, why do you hate it? He's like, I hate it so much. I was like,
dude,
do you want to sell it? He's like, you can have it for $75. Because he's like, I hate it. And he sent me this hurt my heart. He sent me a video of like him crushing it into a box. Like, I'm sure he broke like 2 or 3 pieces of it.
Oh my god.
And then when I finally took it apart, because it's all brown, like 30 or 40 pieces, like cracked into pieces. But I got a pretty whole Ewok Village for about $75 from that guy.
That's amazing.
That's like the kind of weird thing that happened during the pandemic. I had like 2 or 3 meets like that, but like in different ways.
Yeah. So That was the one that turned out good.
That turned out good.
What was the worst or the shadiest one?
So I definitely turned up to buy something that I thought was like it from someone who like everything about them looked regular and normal, and all the prices were just like regular and normal.
Right.
But when I got there, they were not savory individuals for sure, and they were very jittery and very like not. I did not want to be there,
Oh man.
and it was like I didn't know if I was like this. It's like okay, this is not like this. I nope, I'm not doing this. Which is why I always set this thing up by like a public Starbucks, like in a like place where everybody is can see us kind of thing. Usually, except for that one Chinatown time.
Yeah.
But and after that, I was like, and this individual is. I've seen them like post a few things again. I'm like. Big negative.
Wow.
Sort of thing. Like I'm not touching anything that they're
Yeah.
you know. So it's like, yeah. There's been some shady ones, and that'll happen, and then you'll learn if you're doing this after a while to kind of like suss this out, sort of thing.
You kind of have a good
It's just
idea.
you get a feeling, right?
Yeah.
Like you're just like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Has your Lego purchasing slowed down at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just talking about this with some people, and it's going to slow down like a lot. There's
Right.
I mean, in reality, I have a backlog that's massive. I have a lot to build. I don't have space for everything. It's just not feasible. Most AFOLs know this. You got to take some stuff down and put some stuff up.
Yep.
And then really like once you start getting to a point where you have a lot of something like a hardcore collector, because I've collected a lot of things in my life, including like magic and other things, right? I find that you get to a point where you have to really start curating what you want, not like what you kind of like what's the word, just like casually want, but what you really want for a collection, right? Like what sets you want to keep, which ones eventually may have to go, that sort of thing. So I've come to this nice little point where I've spent like a year and a half just like buying, finding deals, finding cool stuff, just using all the tools at my ability to get good deals on Lego and just like build a collection. And then now I think for a year or so, I'm going to like curate that collection a bit by slimming it down, letting go of some sets, finding out what really speaks to me as like an AFOL, and then figuring out like if I can mock stuff, because that's a part of Lego that I am not confident in because I haven't done it and I would like to get into, but
right.
you know, that's an evolution thing, right? Like you get in there by buying some sets and building stuff that you like, and then you're like, maybe I'll do other things as well. Right. Supercomputer says what I want, what I really want. It's these modulars. That's
Yeah.
what I really want.
What about modulars do you really enjoy over most other sets? Because I noticed you have a lot of them.
You want to hear the secret more and more? I've only been this a year and a half. But
yeah.
The secret, this is for everybody in here who isn't into modulars yet.
Yeah.
They're the secret best Lego set every year. Okay, you guys don't know it yet, but they are. Okay, they use the coolest pieces. They use the coolest little like detail things. The build techniques are always fresh and new when you use modulars. The designers tend to like to have little competitions within the modulars on little bits that they like to do best. So they try to outshine each other. Roofs, there's always a special parts usage in the roof. When you get to the staircases, everyone wants to do their coolest staircase, whether it be a spiral staircase or a up and down staircase or whatever they do. And it's just all the best things about Lego will put into a modular. Then you'll see it a lot of times, and unless you're looking carefully, you'll just be like it's a building or something, right?
Right.
But really, all the coolest things are happening in the modulars all the time. And until you build one and you start getting into it, you're like, oh, I see. There's all these moments. And I know a lot of people like when I find like the moment of like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever, you know, like in Lego or whatever. You find that in modulars a lot, like a lot. And then when you start realizing this, you're like, oh, this is just really the best. It's the best value sometimes too, because
Right.
it's not IP branded, right? It's Lego's own thing. If you use a license like Star Wars or Harry Potter or Indiana Jones or Jurassic Park, you're going to pay more because you have to pay into the license fee, right?
Yeah, there's a premium on those sets. Mm-hmm.
But when it's just Lego's thing, it incentivizes them not only to make a really cool set, but using just their own parts and stuff to make that a bestseller kind of thing. Like they can put so much energy into it because their reward is so much higher. They're going to get so much more return on a set that they make from their own IP or like their own like internals than they will necessarily from like farming a Star Wars IP maybe. So the designers, and I think, know this, and they put all this energy into making that set insane. And there's pieces of it that I think that you're just going to be like, man, this is so cool. Like, why don't I want everyone? And then it's just a rabbit hole. Trust me.
Lego, you son of a gun.
It is. Yeah, like it's the Lego, you son of a gun, like across the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why. And of course, then you can put them together, make a city.
Yeah.
I've joked before that if I ever have to not hide my A-fullness, but make my A-fullness like super classy,
right,
I'd probably just do the modulars and like the architecture sets. Just kind of put them there, and then
you got a point there.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And then like
yeah.
have my like little my gaming cave. I'll have all the Star Wars stuff in the gaming cave. But you know, like
there you go. There you go.
Everything's all nice and classy up there. But yeah, modulars have the best stuff for sure.
I've seen that time and time again. Usually, when I see a modular and hear about the details inside.
Yeah.
Between the Bricks asks, is there a lug in Hawaii? A Lego user group?
There are 2 lugs in Hawaii. I have, and you know, this is something I'm going to step out of my comfort zone to do. I've wanted to join a lug here, and the one that I was recommended to join, they have like a website and stuff. They're totally cool. They do really good stuff. They had an application, and I got this is a me thing. This is not a them thing. I just want to point out this is kind of a me thing. Is like on their application, they like asked me to list my last 3 mocks that I built.
Oh, I see.
Right, and so at this point, I've built a lot of Lego in the last year, but I actually don't think I've built any like real mocks, right? So like I got to that point in the application, and instead of like just saying something that would be like, look, I built a lot of Lego, I stream like on Twitch every Sunday or something, like I think I could build some things, but like I haven't built a mock yet. Will you still consider me? Instead of doing all that, I did the I've been in a pandemic for 2 years, I'm just going to ignore it. Like, you know, like just I need to kind of like get out of that myself. Like I should just go out and talk about it. But yeah, I would love to join a lug in Hawaii. For a variety of reasons. Meet other Lego people, you know. That's another thing, right?
Goddess in chat asks, why don't you create one?
It's a good question. I didn't know. I was like,
you're like, your mind just.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't know that was.
That's a good question. That's a good question. Right. Something to think about. It is weird that that lugs required some mock experience.
It, but that was just on the application, and I don't think it was meant in any ill will. To be really honest,
it's like,
I think that was just like a question, right? And on my end, it was my own anxiety and stuff that was like I just didn't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's something I'm aware of. I'm gonna jump over that hump at some point and just be like, look, I like Lego. Would you like to be my friend too?
Can we be Lego buds?
Can we be Lego friends?
Lego friendos? That's I think it's worth doing. So
yeah,
for sure.
I think they'd accept me. I hope they will.
Yeah, I'm sure they would. Yeah. So we've talked a lot about your diving into Lego, and the fact actually you briefly mentioned that you've done streaming on Twitch before. What got you on Twitch to begin with? I guess actually like the previous run on Twitch.
You ready to go back to the way back
Oh
machine?
yeah. Let's go.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Twitch was actually JTV before it was Twitch,
Justin,
and so
right? Justin
Justin
TV.
TV.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
yeah. And that was actually at the very beginning. It was a radio broadcast, like an audio only broadcast, and then it like switched into video things as well later.
Yeah.
And and in the early days there were other non-Twitch people. Twitch wasn't the only shop in town. In fact they weren't necessarily the biggest shop in town in the beginning.
Yep.
Okay, there were other people like services called like Owned 3D, Azubu TV. I'm just trying to like go through some of the ones from back then. And oh man, streaming was like not at all like it is now. Like it was actually kind of
It was the
an
Wild
endeavor.
West.
It was the Wild West. Yeah,
it was.
Like, it was totally the Wild West.
Mhm.
Twitch didn't come into like view until like 2011, give or take. Yeah, it was 1 year out of my MBA. Yeah, 2011.
Yep.
And at the time, I was starting to get into a game called League of Legends. League of Legends, if you guys don't know, is a large multiplayer online battle arena, a MOBA. It basically a 5v5 game that got really popular and really big in esports.
Yeah.
It also turned out that Twitch and League of Legends Riot Games grew together as a brand. Like they basically
sure did.
They symbiotically fed each other, okay? Because esports was coming off the ground and all of it was being focused on Riot Sports at the beginning. Like LOL was like the game.
It was.
And Twitch, like when in those early days of Twitch, if you look at the front page, it was just League streamers. There was no Fortnite didn't exist yet.
Yep.
There was no makers in crafting. Most importantly, in real life or just chatting never existed at this point. There was no conception of a streamer just being a streamer talking with you. This was a gaming thing. Like it was a gaming thing to begin with, right? Like the hardcore base was the League of Legends gamers, like just streaming against each other. And the viewership was not about entertainment at that time. It was, but people didn't really know it. It was about like who was the best pro
esports,
or like it was esports, who was the best team, who you could talk to, like who you could learn from, who was swaggy, whatever. It was like those were the idols. It wasn't like content creators who were like necessarily charismatic. It was like who is the best person at playing this role or whatever.
Right.
And that was 2011, and I got involved because I was into League of Legends and I really liked playing. And I wasn't good, especially because I was on the older half of the realm. I was less mechanically good, but like my brain still worked kind of thing. So I became what they call a one-trick pony player.
Yeah, you played the same.
I played the same champion. There's 100-something champions, but you can play all of them, but I only played one because I knew what that champion could do. It was very simple of a champion, like as far as mechanics go.
Yeah.
But I could apply my game knowledge because I could control the simple part.
Yeah.
Right, which is the game mechanics.
Yeah, you super specialized.
Exactly.
Who'd you play?
Totally. I played Annie.
That explains
a lot.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Because low key, your channel profile picture, is a riff on. Yeah, it's a riff on that character, and it took me way too. I think I told this to you in a Discord conversation. It took me way too long to realize that connection because I think I should have spotted it sooner. But when
there used to be other logos on there that I had to take off over time.
I see. Because when you sent that picture to me, I was like, I should have realized that was Annie. So for those that don't know, I have a storied history in League of Legends as well. It's probably not as amazing as yours, but I mean, there are a few times in my life where I hyper focused on a game, World of Warcraft, and then League of Legends. And League of Legends is how I discovered Justin.tv, and I was there for when it became Twitch as well. So it's funny because I think our histories in terms of like gravitating towards the platform are very similar, and I think a lot of people in that window of time have that same story because
There's a group that actually within Twitch people and like people who've been around the ecosphere, I guess, for a while. It's called the 2012ers, and The 2012ers is when it like right. Let's call that the first big wave of Twitch, where it was like people are figuring this out. This is esports. This is all this other stuff. And then the next one came a little later when like Ninja and Fortnite really started to
Yeah, that
pop
was a
off.
whole nother wave.
That was
Yeah.
another wave, but the first wave they call it the 2012ers, and you can tell, like, when you go to TwitchCon and you like talk to the people, like, kind of very quickly which wave that they kind of came through with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And 2012ers are like League of Legends people. Like, that's a lot of League of Legends people in 2012.
Yeah. So you were at you were at the time playing League of Legends, watching it on Twitch. Did you jump on that stream train pretty early on, or when did you decide, oh, I really want to be on Twitch now?
I didn't stream until 2015, but the reason why I did that was I had been participating in these tournaments on Twitch since May of like 2012. And so before that I was watching stuff as well. So I had been on Twitch, but I never created like an account because I had always been like a lurking, because this is early. You guys don't understand. There wasn't like emotes and there's you just watch a website.
You could lurk feasibly.
Like, you could just lurk forever. Like,
yeah.
And I did for like a year and a half, 2 years sort of thing.
Yeah.
And there was a game mode in League called Dominion, and there was it's fast and it's fun. There was a tournament every weekend called Dominate Dominion that I was a part of that included future casters from HOTS in Forecourt Jester, as well as William Chobra, who works for, I believe, ESL now.
Yeah, a lot of esports personalities.
Yeah, so those were the casters for our tournaments, and I'd help organize and play those tournaments back in 2012.
Wow.
And then the person that was keeping our stats and who now runs eLeaguepedia is Rheingold River. That was a crazy throw. Rheingold River is like the craziest stats person I've ever seen in my life. And they were just like, all these people were just hardcore League fans, and we just did it like community style. No, Riot would give us like prizes because we could organized it, but it was not like a Riot tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was all fan run.
It was like fan run, right?
Yeah.
And so we did that for like 50 something, however many weeks until they canceled Dominion. It was like 2 years sort of thing. And then a community within that was my first Twitch community. Like, I was a part of, because we all like never met each other. We were all like playing
all online.
All online. We were playing League of Legends from different places. And at the time, League still had a chat client inside. So you had chat rooms. And so we were all in this chat room together. And then that chat room turned into this one Twitch stream, which we ran as Dominate Dominion. And that was like the whole thing for a couple of years. And then through that, I met people. Like, that's because League, before it is big now, it was just people. Like, you could get together and build your own team. That was it. You'd go compete for pro. That's how it was. No franchises. It was that first 3 seasons. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So I went to League Worlds from season 2 forward, and the people I knew from Dominate Dominion became the managers of the teams that were in the previous, whatever. There was no LCS, whatever the pro teams,
the competitive league.
Yeah, the competitive league team. So then I just knew everybody, like the players, the rioters, because these were just people we were playing with. This is nothing.
It was to do before it blew up to the
it blew up.
Yeah, because now the league, the league community is just massive. And
massive.
I was actually right around the same time. I was getting like I was more of a bystander, I think, in that whole thing than you were, but I think like Amor in 2011, 2012 was doing the same thing, watching the stuff. I wasn't
watching it, right?
I was watching it all. I wasn't competing or organizing, but I was one of the people tuning in on a regular basis, watching these things. So that's
cool back then.
Yeah,
by the way, just like on a side thing, it felt really cool.
It felt really
blossom sort of thing.
I had not in any way anticipated the way it would grow into what it is now.
And I had an inkling, but not like what it is.
Yeah, like I knew it was gonna grow, but I never expected to the level.
Yeah.
That it I mean, Worlds, the Worlds competition, right? Is such a thing now. It's a big thing. Like, if you're in any way plugged into competitive gaming, you know that it is massive. And
it's huge.
It's huge. And I I think you worded it really well when you said that both Twitch and Riot, the company that makes League of Legends,
Yeah,
they grew together. They had
they grew
this
together.
they had this
Totally.
this symbiotic relationship because they were it was a highly competitive MOBA game that was blowing up on a platform that it was at the time bleeding edge. I mean, it's still kind of is, but like on a platform that was doing things no one else was really doing with
Yeah.
live streaming. And so uh, it's cool to know that you were around for that, which is really,
Yeah,
really
it's
awesome.
we were both at season 3 Worlds, from what I
We
understand.
were both at season 3 Worlds,
You
which
see,
is, yeah.
we were probably right next to each other and didn't even know it. I'm just
Yeah, I
saying.
probably walked by you when I was buying a
Yeah,
shirt or something or hanging out with
you remember
uh
this? This is from season 3 World. They gave us these guys, these big Ezreals, I think.
I have that in my closet right
Right?
over there. Actually, I should have grabbed it and showed that off too. I have that exact one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I knew it.
that's so cool. So you have this long history with
Yep.
Twitch. You started streaming on Twitch, and
June of
then
2015
June
was
of
when, or
2015.
July was my first stream because I had come back to Hawaii. I set up a computer, and for my job, I travel a lot, and I was
Uh-huh,
based out of LA and Hawaii at the time,
uh-huh,
and I would travel to Asia, and I had a few months off in Hawaii, so I came back and I turned on a stream for the first time in July, and it was
uh-huh.
just me playing League of Legends and Hearthstone, I think maybe at the time. Um, and I don't know if you remember. Do you remember there was a little bit of a friendly competition called Best Riven NA?
Yes,
Okay, so there was like a competition for who was the best in this one champion across,
the whole.
of the whole
Yeah,
server,
yeah.
and so all these pros and stuff played it. And so I changed my name. My name changed just as a joke to Most Average Annie NA. And on my second or third stream, I got rated. Um, to this day, my largest raid ever.
Yeah,
My third stream in 2015, which at the time was good enough to make me like the second biggest streamer that day or something,
yeah.
because I had like a 3,000 person raid uh, in 2015 from
Yeah.
Sir Ches or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, or Chris, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So because he was doing this was the height of D Gates with him and Trick 2G, and they start, and raiding was, this was like the first week raids existed.
Yeah.
Like, this is like a new thing.
Yeah,
So they were like,
raids were
oh,
pretty new.
let's not raid other big streamers. First, there was a little competition at first. They weren't raiding each other. They started raiding like random little streamers. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning to get reactions and other things.
Yeah.
I was one of those guys. Like 3,000 people jumped into my ranked League of Legends game, and I didn't know what to do. Like,
Yeah.
this was in 2015. I just turned it on. This wasn't like Streamlabs. You didn't have chat bots. I had to scream for friends to be my mods, and just
Yeah.
like this chat was just like flying.
Yeah.
Like 3,000 people in there, and that was my like second or third stream ever. And then after that, I was just like, this is a lot.
That is and when you said you pointed out something that makes a lot of sense is back in 2015, 3,000 viewers is more like
That was like
Yeah.
he was the top of League of Legends at that night.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it was like
3,000
it.
viewers is like
We didn't hit the
15,000 now.
10K stuff until Fortnite and Ninja. Like
Yeah.
those numbers didn't exist pre a lot, and then we didn't hit like the 20-30K stuff until the pandemic.
Yeah.
Really. So there's been waves of Twitch that we've grown audiences in massive waves.
Oh yeah. League grew it, and like you said, Fortnite grew it. You know, there's these marked like points in time where you can see, like if you were to pull up the stats of Twitch, you could point to that and say, oh, this is when Ninja got really popular in Fortnite. This is when League really blew up, right?
Yeah.
So that's
exactly.
That's great. So you have a long and storied history with League and Twitch, and then from your story earlier, it sounds like you came back and decided to do Lego because you had experience streaming. In terms of Agent Prometheus in the chat asks, do you like streaming Lego better than streaming games?
Billion %.
What about it?
So
do you like
streaming
more?
games, I realize when I stream games, I'm an incredibly competitive person, and what I would try to um, kind of provide from a game stream would be like actual game knowledge or things to improve, or like, just show off what I can do so that people can learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas Lego, I'm just talking to friends,
Yeah.
like in chat. Do you know what I mean? Not that in gaming I wouldn't be talking to friends, but it'd be much more like in my brain, much more hyperly focused on the gameplay and stuff, and I wouldn't have as much time like I do now to interact with chat. Um, and like I said before, like I know people play games to de-stress, and I do too, but sometimes competitive gaming is not de-stressing.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? Like
Not at all.
on occasion it's very stressful. So I don't know that my stream personality will come out as well in like a stressful game stream as opposed to a relaxed Lego stream where we're building things, we
Yeah.
like, just chill,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
That's definitely I'm 100% with you on that. And I love Lego because it allows me to relax, right, while I build,
Mhm.
and then it affords me the ability to uh like I can stop at any time, because I mean it's not
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
with a game you
yeah.
can't just
Hmm.
stop and
You can't.
address something that comes up in chat. But with being able to build Lego, it certainly makes it easier to just chill out,
Yeah,
relax, talk to whoever is in your chat, asking questions, or talking about the latest Lego news they've heard.
exactly. A lot of times, like my chat sometimes just doesn't even talk about Lego. We'll end up talking about
Yeah,
Star Wars or food or whatever's going on, whatever movie's out just recently. Like
right.
we're there to just hang out and like relax, right? You wanna chat about like what's going on. Well, that's what we're here for, sort of thing. I can stop anytime.
I can
Says
stop at any time. Yeah,
all a falls.
yeah. So now that it's been, gosh, you said it's been about a year and a half streaming, is that correct?
Hmm. Yeah,
Lego
yeah,
specifically, what
yeah. About
uh
there.
what continues to motivate you, or what inspires you to keep doing Lego content and streaming to a live audience?
So I think, well, I mean, from the Lego perspective, I'm just getting started in the Lego hobby, I think.
Hmm.
So every time I do things, it's still pretty fresh and new, and like, like that really fun feeling you get when you're like, this is a new hobby. I can get into this. I'm like
Right.
still in that period, right? So and I'm learning things along the way, and I still don't. I feel like my knowledge level on that basis is only like 10% right now. I feel
Yeah.
very, like I still have so much more to learn about Lego stuff, and I'm totally here for it. As for like the streaming stuff, one thing actually, this is a good thing that you brought up, is that like I realized for me, like from an equilibrium perspective, I'm probably better off when I have a lot of time to just stream once a week. I
Hmm.
found that like I can, like, my mental capacity to like handle everything is pretty good for once a week. I don't feel stressed out when I press the go live button, that sort
Hmm.
of thing. Once I start pushing to like 2-3 times a week, like the second or third one of that week, I'll have that like extra anxiety, fear, whatever, non-motivation to not turn on the stream.
Mm.
So I took a little while to figure out that like once a week is like a good basis for me. Now, if I feel like streaming more and I just add it in, then it gives me more like just sheer pleasure to do it that way, right? Instead of having
Right.
like to be like, oh no, you have to be here every extra day this day, right?
Right.
Um, I'm really good with having the once a week day, and I'm happy about that generally. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
motivation, I like it. I like streaming. People like the same. I get to meet people like you. No, I'm serious. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm gonna like I've met Fred now. I've hung out with Fred last time at Disneyland. That was an awesome time. I had a
Yeah.
great time doing that.
Yeah.
My previous Twitch friends are from like League of Legends and stuff. I never knew them before these things, and I'm such good friends with them now. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And along the way, I've always met really cool people. So motivated, like, to just be around Twitch and to turn on my stream sometimes, I'm cool with it. I joke with like some of the Canadians that if I'm ever in that like area one day, I'm just gonna show up to to the locals brick shop or something and just like be there, like, you know, just say hi. Like, I hope people will have me. I think they will, but like, I like meeting new people. Like, generally, I'm a very social person, and Twitch motivates me to meet new people. So that's another big thing for me.
Yeah, meeting new people is one of the big draws of Twitch for me as well.
I just saw my friend jump in here.
Yeah. They said, I know this guy, and besides being very intelligent, he's also a genuine human being who has chosen to live and examine life.
That's a good friend right there.
That's a good friend. When you since you've been doing this, and I mean this can include your time doing it with League of Legends, but when you stream, or at least in your streaming career as a Lego streamer, what have you found to be the most challenging thing while trying to generate content or be a content creator on Twitch?
You know what? Consistency is hard, and I think I've done better about it this last 6 to 8 months than I've ever done in my Twitch career ever.
Yeah.
For people who are new to streaming, and there's a lot of people there is going to be a road bump. I'll tell you this: most people don't realize that you will burn out. Everyone will burn out at one point for a little while. It's just like, it's part of a process. It's like the Matrix thing. He's going to fall the first time, sort of thing. You know, like somebody, you're going to burn out. It just happens. Like, you're using a lot more social energy than you genuinely think, and that's challenging. But if you can find a nice equilibrium where you can be consistent about things, your content will go up no matter what. Like, you can do and add all these very, very cool things to your stream. That's very cool. Your number one thing has to be consistency. Like, you have to be there around the time that your viewers expect you to be there, or, you know what I mean? If you're trying to grow things from a metrics perspective, and it might not be like they expect you to be there, but even for yourself, it'll get you in a rhythm of like, this is what I do once
you become
a week, and then
part of their routine, right?
You become part of it. Exactly. And they become part of yours, right? Like,
exactly.
So like, you know, if you ever go into like high level marketing classes, everyone's going to talk about co-creation of value and your value proposition and yada yada. Basically what you're doing every time you stream is doing something with somebody else to make something new. You're not doing it yourself. You're doing it in coordination with people in chat. You're doing it with anybody watching. Like, this whole process is not like an isolated process. It's everybody's involved. And so like, you just have to get used to that fundamental being a part of it, sort of thing. And once you do, you can build your channel up from that, sort of thing. So I find that to be the hardest thing to overcome. I think I've been doing a little better at it, but that's still the hardest thing, because like, let's say I add a Wednesday to my schedule. If I'm not pressing that button every Wednesday, I feel bad myself, right? Yeah. So that's a kind of thing I want to do. Trying to maintain that nice balance.
Yeah, I think that's really insightful. I think that with doing, your feeling on streaming once a week, I completely sympathize with, because I stream twice a week.
Yep.
Technically 3 times now that we've added crossing the streams, but my original schedule was twice a week, and that is almost nearly the polar opposite of what happened to me when I got into when my community really started to grow on Twitch. I was streaming almost every night for 3 hours a night.
Wow.
Minimum.
Okay.
Almost, it was a late night stream because I worked and have a family. So 3 hours a night for almost a year and a half.
Wow. See, but that's good consistency, because everyone would know, like, that's the time, right? To be there, right?
Yeah. It became a thing, and I think I grew to like a decent size in terms of like viewership and community, and to touch on the consistency, You're 100% correct. That's how you kind of build up a, a community. And then the flip side of that is the other thing that you said, you're gonna burn out. And
You're gonna burn out.
I eventually
It
did.
happens.
And what's funny is it wasn't even Twitch that burned me out specifically. It was just everything, life, right?
Yeah.
Because you're spinning so many plates.
Yep.
And so work, wife, children, social life, Twitch, I was doing all of those things. I was running Dungeons and Dragons games. I was doing doing a million things. And it got to the point where I wasn't sleeping as well. I wasn't working out anymore. I wasn't taking good care of myself.
Right.
And so the only thing I could really drop was Twitch for the most part. The thing that took the most time. So for you, trying to stay consistent, has been challenging, and you've already kind of given some insight to this, but what would you tell someone, in addition to the consistency factor, what would you tell someone that's trying to get into streaming?
Right now you have all the tools that, and this is from someone who's been there when none of these tools existed. You can just turn on your stream right now.
Yeah.
And I know everyone's like, oh, but I don't have the, turn it on. Just turn it on, talk to some people. And then you will have to work out an organizational process where you feel comfortable in what you're doing, get that consistency and stuff, but don't ever be afraid of your tools necessarily. Right now, your phone can probably do more than half the webcams out there. Okay.
Yeah.
Audio is just one, you can even have just an all-in-one headset, and there's so many things. You don't have to have a fancy mic, any of this kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Do something that I think that you'll like, but also won't bother you if it's not going well, kind of thing. Right. Because you're gonna be creating content, and it's almost like a job to a degree. And if it sours on the stuff that you really, really starts to sour for some other reason, then you're gonna lose that same thing on just your hobby side, right? That you like.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is stream something that you enjoy, but don't stream so much that it'll burn that joy out of you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Doesn't make
There's a good balance to that.
Yeah, you don't want to get sick of it, right?
Yeah, you don't want to get sick of it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the big thing. Everything in moderation to a degree, except for all this Lego.
Yeah, I was gonna say moderation. He said with over 100 sets of Lego behind him.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Is there anyone on Twitch that inspires you, or people that you really look up to on the platform, or even those who build content on platforms like Twitch?
Yes. You know what I actually think is very, very cool about this most recent interaction of Twitch that I've had is that in the past, a lot of the content creators that I've been involved with were massive people, big people. But Twitch now, as much as they rely on these large streamers, the bulk of Twitch, if you really get to the core of it, is this mid-level of all of us. Everybody from from the smallest streamer to the mid-level streamer, that's going to be where everything is happening. And that's where you're going to also see innovation, people who are grinding because they have to move up, right? Whereas the people up top can just status quo it if they really wanted to continue doing all these stuff. So in that sense, all the people that I've met in the Lego community, literally across the board, are amazing. Everybody you interviewed is a perfect example of this, right? Because everybody is coming into it from either a smaller, we either just started doing this during the pandemic, right? Yeah. Or we're converting our content. You're a variety streamer, and we came into this Lego thing, or whatever it may be, right? Every one of those streamers, you can go and please check that YouTube list where that more and more will provide you. Okay.
Yeah.
Every one of the streamers that you see there have a story to tell. They know they are contributing. I don't know if they realize this, but they're contributing probably more to the Twitch ecosphere than they realize.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I don't like, and this is from someone who like sees it from like an analytical business perspective. You guys are worth a lot of money. Like
it's true.
You guys don't know this, but y'all are worth a lot of money. Like Twitch is not making money hand over fist from like the shrouds of the world that they've paid X $1 million for already, right?
Right.
They're making money off of you guys who are creating great content. That's what y'all are doing.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so I would say right now, if you're a Twitch veteran or if you're like new to Twitch, go find the favorite streamer that you have, someone that like fits your values maybe, or has similar interests than you. See what they're doing, find out. I'm not saying copy them, but just kind of like, just get an idea of their vibe and see if you can translate some of that into your stream, because a lot of times what you watch is what you want to be a part of, right? It's this whole co-creation of value thing.
Yeah.
So go in there and like, if you like someone with a cool chill vibe, maybe you want a cool chill vibe, right? If you want somebody who like does all the redeems, right? All the bells and whistles, and you want your stream to have all the bells and whistles, I'm pretty sure you could ask people in and around that person's stream how to do all the bells and whistles. You know what I'm saying? These are all options to you. You have to find what's comfortable to you. We've talked about burnout a little bit. Like, if you're not comfortable to begin with, you're going to be keeping that feeling every stream over and over, right?
Yeah.
It might succeed a little, but if you don't change anything about it, that same uncomfort is going to be every single stream. So try and find a way you can get comfortable in your own skin to do it, and then just go. Everything else will like fall into place.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It does help. I will say too, it does help that my expectation level is I just like to stream with people, and if they like my content, I'm happy to interact with them with that.
Right.
Like I don't have a specific, I want to hit partner, I need to do, like, if I wanted to do these specific goalposts, I would go about it probably a little different way.
Right.
But I know that my content is just like, let's hang out. If you like hanging out with me, I like generally hanging out with you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of, I guess, and I know this isn't necessarily statistically, but like what goals do you have for your channel and community? Where do you want to take it?
Okay, because I know I'm realistic about this, in the sense that I also have things I have to do, and as the pandemic starts, as the pandemic restrictions start to ease, I have to ease back into travel as well, like for work and stuff. Right. So realistically, I would like to grow my channel to a place where if anybody in the Lego community wants to come hang out, talk about Lego stuff, geek stuff, any other of my game hobbies, any of those things, I am happy to deal and hang out with them. I don't have any like numbers metrics or anything to hit. If I ever wanted to hit partner, it would be only to get via lounge access for TwitchCon, because I'm like, I want to go sit down sometimes. Literally, that would I swear enough. That's the only reason why I would ever do that is
I love it.
Go get like a Red Bull or something to go hang out. That would be it. That's my old. I would have zero.
Have you ever been in one of those lounges?
Yeah. Well, because
of your league connections.
Well, yeah, because usually it's anyone who's a partner has a +1.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm always like at TwitchCon with people I know, so I just walk in there with them, so it's not a problem.
Right.
Yeah. I've kind of made a brand of just being the guy that was just randomly there. Seriously, like, that's how I know all these league people, is that like I think I hung out with you know Travis Gafford?
Yeah,
Travis. I'm just friends with Travis. Like, and I only became friends with Travis because like in one of the league worlds, we showed up at the same hotel and like we just hung out for like that time, and
that's
for
awesome.
The rest of from then on, it was just we're really good friends and we traveled worlds together every year.
Yeah.
And so like I would just be at these things.
I'm sure, like, I'm sure we were in the same spaces and places a lot of those events, because I went to a number of Twitch cons in the early, like when they first started.
The early days. Do you remember 2015? It was like nothing was there. It was 2 days. It was like San Francisco.
That was the
It
one I
was
didn't
small.
get to. I went to
Okay.
the next one, 16 and
San
17.
Jose.
Yep.
San
Yep.
Jose would have been the next one. Yeah.
Yep. I've been to that one and then the
Yep.
next two after that. And
Yep.
so I'm sure we were like hanging out in the partner lounge with our respective
Guaranteed.
friends.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Isn't that funny? That
Weird, right? Yeah, I
we've
know. I
probably
know.
like been in the same circles without really knowing it. And here
Yeah.
we are now. But
Yeah. That's okay. That's why I think it's cool. Is that I think that people got along in those big circles will also get along in smaller circles as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You've kind of somewhat walked us along this journey from Lego to Twitch and back.
Yeah.
What particular aspect of your time did we not get a chance to really talk about that you wanted to touch on?
I guess we could go a real small time when I was a Magic the Gathering Wizards
Yeah.
of the Coast content creator.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
So I tend to get into hobbies
Wholeheartedly.
110%.
Yeah.
more than ever. And when I was a kid, when I was 10 years old, I was really good at Magic the Gathering. I really liked the game.
Yeah.
I was like the state champion when I was like 12 or something.
Wow.
And then I quit because it was just like, I don't know, I quit. Like when I got to high school, I was like, I'm going to, do other things.
Right.
And I didn't do Magic for like 20 years. And I picked it up when I moved back to Hawaii here in paper.
Yeah.
And I ended up starting to get kind of good. And I started going to these events called GPs, which are like little tournaments around the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I played in those. And while I was there, Wizards started saying that they were going to create a digital Magic platform called Magic the Gathering Arena.
Yeah.
And Magic the Gathering Arena was basically like a Hearthstone GUI, but with like Magic mechanics.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was like, I'm on board with that, because at that time I was also a pretty competitive Hearthstone player. I think I was in the Blizzard BlizzCon first invitational. Like they had like an open tournament. I did that, and so I like card games, like strategy games.
Yeah.
And so I played Magic the Gathering when it came out in beta, and I became at the top, I think, with like a couple hours left in the season. I was like the 4th ranked player in the world.
Wow.
And I think at the time they were inviting the top 8 players that ended the night to $1 million invitational tournament to be like the biggest esports card tournament of all time. And I ended like 11th or something.
Wow.
It was like, I was crushed. I'm not gonna lie, I was crushed. But at the time I was like, it was the biggest tournament it was the biggest Magic tournament of all time. It turned out to be like a mistake, but that's like another thing. But off of that and other things, I became a Wizards content creator. So I started like doing like the preview drafts and like the previews of the sets and that sort of thing. And I streamed for Wizards of the Coast at TwitchCon for a couple of years. Like they have like live streaming booths and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. And then I guess most recently during the pandemic, they had a Twitch Rivals tournament. And if you guys don't know what Twitch Rivals is, it's a tournament series brought to you by Twitch across all titles. Like it's just whatever title wants to be like the one that week that's probably sponsoring the tournament. But like it'll be like, I don't know, Twitch Rivals Apex Legends, or Twitch Rivals League of Legends, or
Fall Guys even.
Fall Guys, Twitch Rivals, Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Twitch, all those things. So they had Twitch Rivals, Magic the Gathering Arena, and I participated in that in November of 2019. Yeah. Which I think I might even have a highlight or some streams on there. But so I made it to the second day, which was after like Swiss play, and I ended up beating couple of world champions and other people like Andrea Mangucci and some other people like during that tournament. Made it to the round of 32 and then made it to the round of 16. and then I totally punted my last game in the round of 16, and but cashed out. So that I did some. I actually got, that was the most I've ever made. It was from this Twitch Rivals random tournament.
Yeah.
From Magic, because it was a pretty big payout
Wow.
for what it was.
So from League of Legends to Magic.
Yeah. To Magic, yeah. And then
wow.
to Lego.
And then to Lego. That is
I figured I was done after Magic, to be honest, because I was like, I'm just like, I'm not doing it anymore. I like kind of like chilled out on it.
You didn't want to be competitive.
Right. And then I found Lego and I was like, this is for me. I like this.
Yeah, that's so interesting, given that, you know, my you know, although not as competitive, my history was very much of, I wanted to just play games and be really just you know, someone that you could come to Twitch, like view on Twitch and really check out games. League of Legends was one of the first games that I played on Twitch, but I slowly went more into like single player, more narrative experiences over time, which is kind of similar, you know, thing of like, oh, I just want to chill out now. I went from being like in super sweaty competitive games, and then I'm like, now I just want to chill out. And then eventually Lego was the thing that I found as well. And I arrived at the same, I arrived at the same place where it was like, oh, I just want to hang out, man. Like, just like, why don't we just chill out and like talk about whatever we've been watching on Netflix while I put together this cool set, you know?
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, like, even to this day, I have one competitive game I play, but I swear I don't feel like I'd feel comfortable streaming it on Twitch, because either I would get really mad. I'm like actually that competitive at it, or like I would do very poorly because I would just like try to split my concentration.
Yeah.
Because I made masters in TFT like last week.
So that's the game you're playing?
Teamfight Tactics. Teamfight Tactics.
Yeah.
So right now I'm like trying to figure out if I want to try for Grandmaster Challenger, but that's like top 500 in the world, and I'm like, that's a lot. That's a lot.
It's a lot of work. That's hardcore. Some hardcore gaming at that point.
And I'm like, I'm old. This is
I don't have time for that.
Yeah, like I don't have time for this for the kids.
I get you. That man.
I like games.
I love games too.
Strategy games. And,
yeah.
But that's why I like Lego too. Like that, the brain, it's like that strategy kind of thing. It's the same kind of thing, right? Like you're just like organizing how things should be in a nice mosaic of things.
Totally. Like that's why I like Lego too, because especially when you build, I mean, going back to modulars, right? When you look at some of those sets, there's some really interesting techniques that come up, and it's been really cool for me to see those and then learn how certain things were accomplished in those sets, and how could you apply that to something else or another, a mock or something along those lines. Stimulates that section of the brain
in my head.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm like, I'm remembering staircases. Don't worry.
Yeah. Man, it's been a real pleasure talking to you about this. I'm sure we could go on all night.
We could go forever. Thank you for having me.
Of course. While we're here, I guess, you know, and you've heard this question asked probably every episode, but now that you've had a deal of time to kind of sit through this experience, who would you like to see go through this sort of thing next that hasn't done this yet?
I would like to see my good buddy and pal Supercomputer perhaps on here.
Supercomputer.
Yeah, because he's also kind of newish in the pandemic wave, I guess, of Twitch streamers, but he has a very, very interesting story, I think, that I would like to uncover.
Yeah, that sounds excellent. Now I'm curious too. I'm curious to hear about Supercomputer's Twitch and Lego story as well.
Me too.
He's in chat. His ears are burning.
Is this here? If you could listen all night, well, we could listen to you. Perhaps this could be you.
So we got Supercomputer as a suggestion. Anyone else?
Let me see. You know, this is a little bit out of it's not out of our like normal group, but do you know that square guy?
I do. Yeah.
That square guy, who's from Australia, he streams at a later time usually because he's down in Australia. But he always has a very interesting story that I might be interested in finding out about or more about anyway.
Right.
So I enjoy consuming that content, so I wouldn't mind finding more about it either.
Well, that's good to know. I'll uh have to add them to the list.
Yeah.
Next week we are talking to Dr. Cat Builds, actually. So
I will be there.
Yeah, Dr. Cat Builds will be on actually at the same time, 8 p.m. Pacific next Saturday.
Sweet.
So we'll be talking to Dr. Cat. For those that don't know where to find you, Lone Gopher, where can they find you?
Easily on twitch.tv/lonegopher or twitter.com/lonegopher is a good social to follow me on as well.
Excellent. Do you have any parting words for those that are listening? Final thoughts.
Thank you for everyone joining us. I really appreciate it. I say this on my stream every Sunday. Aloha from the bottom of my heart. You know, you guys make the show just as good with all of us. It's not the two of us. It's everybody in chat as well.
Exactly.
Yep. And yeah, if you can swing by, if you want to hang out on a Sunday, come by my stream. We'd be happy to have you. You'd be part of the Ohana, and we'd just hang out.
Excellent.
That's pretty much it.
Well, thank you once again, Lone Gopher, twitch.tv/Lone Gopher. It is an absolute honor to get to talk to you, to have you on here. It's been amazing. I know that we could probably go for another couple hours.
We could go round.
We could go round. I don't want to
go round.
Well, yeah, I don't want to have to do that to everyone to have to sit through another hour or two, but it was truly great getting to hear your story and get to know you. And I can't wait to probably catch up with you again in terms of doing one of these another day, or, following up with you. I wish you the best in the Lego realm as well as the greater Twitch community. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and having some time to talk.
Well, thank you so much, more and more. I really do appreciate it, and as always, I really appreciate your content. I'm going to tune in every week because this is fun. I've had a great time, and I look forward to finding out more and more about more people in our community.
Thank you.